welcome to this episode of your Untamed Life podcast. Today we have Kobi Pollock. I'm so excited to chat with her. We did NLP training together, and she's someone who's completely transformed her life and now is helping other nurses help transform their own life, overcome burnout, and really love their career again. And I'm just excited to talk with her today. And welcome to the podcast, Kobi.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here and to chat to you.
Thanks. I am really looking forward to hearing your thoughts on all of this, and would love to hear what you're focusing on nowadays and what you're doing with your work with women.
Yeah, so I am a mindset coach and work with specifically mums and nurses, primarily because I'm a mum and a nurse myself. I also work as a pediatric nurse as well. And so right now I'm really working on helping mums and nurses that feeling really stuck. So 2 years ago, I went through extreme burnout to the point where I was having panic attacks and I couldn't get to work. I was struggling to get out of bed, and just this negative feeling of being stuck constantly. I started working with a coach myself then, who had done neuro-linguistic programming training. And so I started working on my mindset and changing my thoughts. And it saved my life and changed my life. And so now what I do is to help people who are in exactly the same spot that I was those couple of years ago, and just really help them to start to live life again, to be present, to be focused, and to know what it is that they want as well. I think so many of us go through life going from one thing to the next, task to task, and we get stuck and we forget who we are and get a bit lost in life. And so being able to help women to find themselves again and find happiness and joy is just, brings me so much joy as well. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautifully put. You said it saved your life. What do you mean by that?
So at the time of my biggest burnout, so I was doing pediatric nursing. I was actually working in oncology and palliative care. And so that was I was emotionally putting so much into my job, and I was caring for everyone else and going home and caring for my family, and I just wasn't caring for myself. And so I started numbing with alcohol. I was binge eating because I would eat and I would feel better for a little bit. I wasn't taking care of myself at all, and I got to the point where I was suicidal. I had a plan to end my life. And there's a point that I really remember. I was sitting in bed and it was just like, I know I have a choice to make. I can either choose to end my life and I won't be here for my 2 young boys and husband, or I can choose to make a change and do something different. And that's where I had randomly connected with a coach online, and it was that point that I reached out to her and I said, I need help. And things just started changing from there. So it's been onwards and upwards since then, and step by step. And I mean, sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. But now with the mindset work that I've done, and as well, doing this NLP stuff, it just changes your outlook on life. And I now have the tools to be able to support myself moving forward. And I know they're lifelong tools that I'll always have. And life is really great.
Beautiful. What do you think it was within you that made you be able to make that decision and be there for your family still?
I think I really believe that there's 2 things that can make us change, and that's love and pain. And so at that time, it was the love for my family and kids. it wasn't the love for myself, because I didn't have any love for myself at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the pain that I was in. Like, I was feeling physical pain from the feelings and the emotions and the neglect that I had for myself for so long. That, yeah, it was both love and pain that really inspired me to make that choice at that time.
And
Yeah.
how do you think you got to that point? Was it just that work was too busy, or?
I think it was giving to everyone else. So
Mhm.
giving to everyone else. And I also, doing this NLP work, I understand now how important our limiting beliefs are. And that I had so many limiting beliefs. Like, I had the I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I can't do things. They were all there from childhood.
Mhm.
And so they had been played over and over and over again, to the point where I didn't love myself. I wasn't taking care of myself. And I just became that rundown and was giving to everyone else, that my body was ready to give in,
Mm.
and my mind.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
think it's that like normal structure that we have with our jobs and everything? It doesn't let us heal those aspects, or it just doesn't let us face them or see them.
I think a lot of the time it's like society says we should be busy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just to, if someone asks us, how are you? Saying I'm busy is almost like this crown, like, I'm busy, so I'm important, I'm doing something great.
Yeah.
However, it wasn't until I started to slow down and to reconnect with myself and understand who I was and what I needed, that I was able to start to heal. Because I would go from one thing to the next without stopping in between, without actually celebrating what I had done and the achievements. Like, even if it was just getting out of bed in the morning or putting a load of washing on, like, being able to celebrate those things and go, wow, I've done that today. That's really amazing. I think that's something that we don't do enough of. And so that's why I love helping women to be able to do that and celebrate these little things that we do for ourselves each and every day.
Mm. That allows us
Mm.
a foundation to help others from a better place for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of chasing this, I don't even know. Yeah, it's like the American dream that's just been passed around the world. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
and if there's anyone in someone's life, maybe from your perspective, what could someone do to help someone that might be thinking about what you were thinking about in the past and really feeling like there is no hope?
Yeah. I think it's really about just sharing with them that you are there for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if someone's going through that and feeling at their darkest days, and they may be thinking about ending their life, they just want someone to know that someone else is there for them, that someone does care. Because I know when I was there, I just felt so lonely. And people talk about, like, it's okay, you can reach out, you can talk to me if you need something. However, when you're in those moments, it's like you don't want to be a burden to people.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's got their own stuff going on. And so it's easier just to shut off
Yeah.
and not actually reach out.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's friends or family wanting to support a person in that moment, I think it's about really letting them know that you are there. Even if it's just calling them for a chat, dropping in and just sitting on the couch next to them. Like, you don't actually have to do anything. It's about just being present and
Sounds
being there. Yeah.
like sounds like just showering them in love. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is it that it felt like, you know, the world would be better off without you? Is that kind of where that gets you? Or is that the thought that gets you there?
Um, it was more that I feel like you've glitched something in my brain now. It was
Big question.
probably, yeah, it's a great question. I think it was probably more that I did feel like a burden
Mm,
to people. And what was the point in me being here? Like, and I know my kids needed me. That's probably the biggest thing. Like if my kids weren't around, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't have. I don't know.
hmm.
I wasn't in that situation anyway.
Yeah.
So, but I think they held a lot for me because it was, I wanted to be able to show them what they can do with their life as well.
Mm,
And show them that, like, you can be in this darkest place, that you can still get out of it.
powerful.
And so, if in their life they get into something like that or any sort of place where they feel really stuck, that there's always an answer and there's always support and help you can reach out for, and that they can do anything. So I think that, yeah, that's probably what sort of got me going.
Mm. Has it really changed the way that you like communicate with your family or interact with your children?
Yeah, definitely. I'm very open with the kids and we speak about our emotions. Like we share with each other how we're feeling. Um, it's okay if you have a bad day. And it's about knowing that there are brighter days to come.
Hmm.
There's always going to be a better day.
Very true. Yeah. Sun's always setting and rising. It's always going
Yeah.
to be fun.
Yeah. Just like the seasons, like
Hmm.
there's going to be storms and rain, and yeah, there's always going to be a better day.
Yeah. Personal winters but feel kind of endless, but there's always a
Yeah.
spring coming. Yeah.
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 Beautiful. Do you think at any stage, like, did you enter into your career anything kind of just like on autopilot, and that maybe when it ended up
Mm.
where you ended up type thing? Because it just feels very typical in society where we're just like, I'm doing this because XYZ, and then you don't really think about it as what I actually want.
Yeah. I think a lot of that was, yeah. And autopilot was something very ingrained in me.
Mm,
It'd just be the same thing every day in and day out. And that's probably like, because I would get up, get the kids ready, drop them off at school, go to work, do what I needed to do at work. And then usually I would get a bottle of wine on the way home. And then I would drink that at night because I didn't want to feel the feelings that I was feeling. And then I would not sleep well. And then I would get up and do it all the next day.
mm. And
And
then
it was that autopilot, and it was the not wanting to feel, not wanting to face what it was that was actually going on in life.
mm. If there's anyone that's kind of stuck in that loop at the moment, like what would you say to them?
Just that things can be different. And if you don't like where you are, you can choose to change that.
Hmm.
There are so many opportunities out there. And I know when I was in my job, the nursing role I was in before I'm in the one now, where I burnt out, I felt like I was stuck in that job, like because we had a mortgage, we had the kids. I felt like I couldn't get out and go into something else because there was always a reason, there was always an excuse
Mm-hmm.
for that. And then when things had to change, I had to take responsibility and action because otherwise I wouldn't be here. And so stepping outside of my comfort zone really saw me start to feel empowered to see that changes actually could happen. And yeah, to recognize that there is more outside of that square that we live inside of.
Mm-hmm.
That, yeah, those four walls don't have to keep us in. Things can be different. We don't have to be stuck in autopilot. We don't need to be doing the same things all the time, or what society expects us to be doing as well.
Yeah, that's a big for anyone that might feel like that, you know, those excuses are coming up. Like, how could someone maybe differentiate that that's an excuse that's based on maybe something internal, or it's a legitimate reason?
Yeah, I think a lot of that is to do with the gut and trusting yourself as well. And I think if you can sit down and really have a deep thought with yourself and ask yourself the question, like, am I not wanting to get up and exercise this morning because it's too cold and I'm too tired? Like, is this an excuse? Or am I genuinely going to cause myself harm by doing the opposite?
Mm-hmm.
Like, ask yourself the questions and be truthful with yourself and what feels right for you as well.
Yeah, take radical responsibility kind of, and
Yeah.
that self-trust has really been removed from us, well, I think through the education system as well. And yeah, so we end up in a strange place there.
Yeah, and I think that autopilot definitely has something to do with it, because we're just going from one thing to the next, that we don't check in with ourselves. We don't go, hey, how do I actually feel about this? Do I actually want to be doing this? Or is it just same thing, society? Is it just what I should be doing? Or yeah.
Do you think it's like a bit of survival mode and then we need to
Yeah, definitely. And I was truly in survival mode. And when I started to get out of that, that's when the possibilities started coming up. Like, it was, and those thoughts of, oh, there's that little bit of hope. What if, like, what if things could be different? What if I could start a business and help women that are in the same place that I was in? Like, could I actually do that? And yeah, when you start to tune in and go, what do I need? And start taking care of ourselves, that's when these things just automatically start to pop up in our lives and the possibilities. Yeah.
I think you start to see too that there are more people in the same boat as you, or are there a lot of that you could help?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, too, what I just said about, you know, you were in survival mode, but you ended up at a place where you didn't want to survive. It's just interesting how,
Yeah,
like,
true.
yeah, you're then that ramped up state and it ends up in this really dark place. Yeah. Maybe there's just too much fear, too much overloading, and like your body's just not handling it well and your mind's not handling it well.
Yeah, it was I was definitely, my nervous system was overloaded. There was just so much going on, and that's what I would find, is that any little thing that happened, like the kids fighting in the morning, it would just cause me to snap straight away.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
I was just in that, almost in that fight or flight state constantly. Freeze. A lot of the time I would actually freeze and just be like, I can't do this. Can't do this. So very much the self-care and doing things to support myself is what helped me through that, and to help to just calm that nervous system down so that I could listen to myself and understand who I truly was and what I truly wanted as well.
Beautiful. Did your children notice like what was happening and how you've come out the other side and how different all that is?
Yeah, so they're fully aware of everything, and I openly speak about being at that point where I was so down that I was ready to end my life. And they understand how important it is for self-care. And it's really amazing how kids can pick up on our language and how we're feeling and things as well. They so openly share things now as well. And they'll say little things to kids at school about like looking after themselves or the language that they're using in particular. And actually one of the things that we learned in NLP is about the word try.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't actually really a thing of try. It's either you do or you don't. And so at school, and even they picked me up on it as well. And they're like, but mum, you can't try. Like, there is no trying. You either do or you don't. It's like, oh, keep me on track. So their little minds are just amazing at what they can pick up on. And I think this is the thing for our next generation. Like, if we can teach these kids this sort of mindset stuff when they're young, imagine what their lives are going to be like and what culture and society are going to be like in the future.
Yeah, they'll be powerhouses. Did
So
they pick up any new hobbies or new things and like kind of grow in that aspect as well?
I think they're really, so I very much love trying new things now. Stepping outside of my comfort zone is one of my favorite hobbies,
Agreed.
if you want to call it that. I've always been quite scared of snakes. And at the moment, I'm learning as much as I can about snakes. And like watching as many things as I can. And I'm actually planning in October to go and hold a snake, which in the past I would just have a panic attack and be like in tears. And I think just the fact of like we can do hard things.
Yeah.
And the more that we put ourselves in these uncomfortable situations and learn new things and experience new experiences, the more we will be inclined to do that as well and grow and learn and embrace life. I think I didn't really answer your question there. But so by seeing me doing these outside of the comfort zone things, they're very willing to try new things now.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it's been really cool.
It's such a ripple effect, and when you take care of yourself and change your inner world, then the outer world just mirrors it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, definitely.
The snake thing is funny. I used to have a python and he was 9 feet, and
wow.
I never understood the whole snake fear. I never lived in Australia before this, right? So like I'd never really encountered snakes, but I didn't have that fear. But I had even like big burly movers move our house, and they were so scared of my snake. They like, like at the other end of the room. And like I'm just like, it's in a cage, it's in a cage. I never understood that fear. Like, can you explain it to me a little, just for a minute?
So for me, as a child, I lived underneath the house, and it was a converted garage, so it had a roller door.
Yeah.
And so snakes would come into my bedroom.
Oh geez, yeah.
And so as a child, I was probably like 12, I think, probably when we moved into this house. And so as a child, I remember there being snakes in my bedroom and snakes in the lounge room downstairs, and they were poisonous snakes as well. They were yellow-faced whip snakes.
Jeez,
and so mum and dad scaring them out. And so that just sort of, I was scared of them from that. And then from there, it sort of grew more and more. And now we live on a farm in Queensland, and there's sort of no escaping. They are here. And so I know that I'm going to come close to them. And by me embracing this fear and stepping into my uncomfortableness, that's just going to help me grow so much and be able to embrace life a lot better as well. And like, if I can do that, what else can I do?
Yeah, it's huge,
Yeah.
especially because there's a lot of poisonous ones. I definitely like understand being backing away from poisonous ones, but just the non-poisonous ones, I'm like, it literally can't do anything. And my python bit me, and for some reason that made me feel, it was like I was right about to go on a road trip, and for some reason I was like, yep, you know, off the bucket list for that one as well. Check that off.
Yeah.
And then it like made me even weirdly too bold near like wild snakes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a poisonous snake, 100% staying away. And I don't go in the bush because I'm like, I don't actually know how to deal with Australian wild snakes. But yeah, your fear makes a lot of sense. I just feel like some people get it from nowhere, but that also really shows how much like your childhood impacts your adulthood so much.
Yeah.
And it's just like those big things, but then there's little things that you don't even remember and how much that can stick with you.
Yeah, for sure. Our subconscious mind, that's it. It's an amazing thing. And I think no matter how much we can try and understand it, there's always something else there that we can learn and grow from.
What was something big, maybe if you could share, that's come up from your inner work from when you were a child? Is there anything that comes to mind?
I very much didn't have self-esteem growing up as a child. So I actually, from grade 1 through to grade 5, I cried every single day of primary school. And my poor mum would have to take me to the teacher and I would be crying and she would have to leave me and then she would be upset because of that. And I think on reflection and through doing all of this inner work, it has made me realize, I think, where this actually came from is because my younger brother was at home with mum. And so he's 4 years younger than me. And so for 4 years, I had mum to myself. And then he came along and I went to school. So it was almost like he was born and then I was sent away. And as a child, I didn't have the resources and the understanding to know that I was still loved and I was still worthy. And this was just something that happened. Kids get older and they go to school and they learn. But as a child, I didn't understand that. And so that instilled in me that I wasn't worthy and that I wasn't loved. And so from there, I went on through life and believed that. And now I can look back and so many of my behaviors and my actions and my choices and my thoughts in life, the outcomes that happened were because I thought that I wasn't loved and I wasn't worthy, which actually wasn't true. And now I can understand that. I can embrace who I am and do what it is that I want with the knowing that I'm loved and that I'm worthy. And it's been such an amazing journey. And I do wish that I had have known this earlier. But I also know that my journey has been what it is because I needed to go through what I did go through to be able to now help others to learn the same.
Yeah, it's a powerful realization.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of like timing, right? Like you had to go to school at that time, and like such a thing like that can impact someone for their whole lives. Do you ever think about this? I'm sure you help mothers. So do you have any advice maybe for moms to mitigate that or to watch out for how they might have affected their child or maybe deal with it later on as well?
Yeah. So I think it's actually something that so I've probably been doing this deep inner work for a couple of years now. And I do feel like when my eldest was quite young, I didn't know this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can see in him the same sort of things. And I believe that for most older kids, they feel that way. The younger sibling comes along and suddenly they're not as important as they were before. And so I think for the older siblings, and this is only because I'm the oldest and this is my experience, it's just about, as a parent, letting them know that they are loved, that they are worthy. And that just because another sibling has come along doesn't mean they're any less.
Beautiful.
It just means that there's different responsibilities and different things happening in the family. Yeah.
I think every sibling level has a different response. I'm the youngest.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so what's your feelings and experience with siblings?
There's a lot. I just feel like I might have a unique one, but like a unique perspective. I don't know. Anyway, situation there, but I think what ended up coming up for me was not being recognized, but it was from my sibling, but my mum was there always, and then it was just a weird mixture of like, am I important or am I not important, and do I have a voice or do I not have a voice type thing. It was just this wishy-washy place for me to live, and I ended up like, it was like you, I cried a lot when I was in school. So but yeah, I definitely see what you mean about the older sibling, and I think that my sister felt that too. She's 9.5 years older than me, so I can only imagine. Yeah.
And it's really interesting that a lot of this sort of stuff can be reduced through communication. The greater communication we can have and the more connected we can be to each other, we can really reduce these, I don't know, I want to say childhood wounds, but I also don't want to say that. I don't know what I would actually call it. Yeah, I guess
just
these
little
little
communications, really.
Yeah. It's just that understanding other people's perspectives as well is super important, I think.
Having conversation and like an open one, it's rare maybe in our previous generations, because even now it's a struggle to get that out of family, at least from my perspective. As much as they go, I'd like this to be better, and then trying to navigate that together is a different story. But have you had luck? Do you talk to siblings now doing that?
So my brother lives about 5 hours away on the Gold Coast, and we've become quite close since becoming adults. And it's really lovely that we can now share that, even though we're not close in distance. Still communicate quite well.
That's awesome. Are you guys quite similar or very different?
We go through stages. So he's actually a runner, and he runs ultra marathons and things. And so at one stage for my 40th birthday, I was like, right, I want to do something healthy. I don't want to just have a party and get drunk. I decided to run a marathon from not being a runner really previously. And so he was key in that. And he actually ran it with me. And it was so amazing. And I think that actually helped us to come together a bit closer as well, because I took an interest in what he was really interested in as well. And I think that can be really important in relationships, especially family relationships too, taking that interest in something that someone else really enjoys as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I found that with my sister. Like, we need to find something that we can talk about other than like family stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. That's really amazing. And then did that like warm him up, and now he wants to know more about what you do, or? join your hobbies?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we talk to each other sort of every few weeks or so and talk about what's going on, and it's handy because the training that we've been doing is on the Gold Coast, and so he's on the Gold Coast. So it just brings another reason to catch up, which is nice.
Yeah, love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And with your work with nurses, what do you feel like is their biggest struggle? Yeah, and how do you support them through that?
I think with nursing, especially since COVID, the workloads are extremely high.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of sick leave. And so nurses, to me, it feels like are working harder than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And we can very much get stuck in autopilot. It's just it's the going to work and doing the thing and then getting called in and covering shifts and working and giving to other people and not caring for yourself. And so one of my big things that I say is we need to nurse ourselves first and take care of ourselves before we can give to others, because we all know we can't pour from an empty cup. You need to put that oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on other people. And so for nurses who have reached a point of they've been giving to everyone else for so long that they haven't been caring for themselves, and so their bodies are run down, their minds are run down, we can really get stuck in a negative place. And so this creates a culture within nursing of negativity and blaming management and blaming resources and just that constant negativity. And so if we can start to change our mindset and say, well, no, we have a responsibility in this as well. We can either use all of these excuses and reasons why we aren't enjoying our job, or we can take responsibility and action and change things. And so if you don't like the area that you're nursing in, you can change your job. If you are over nursing altogether, you can start a business or you can do something different. That there is always hope. There's always something else out there. And it's that stepping into outside of your comfort zone again, trying something different and getting out of the autopilot as well.
Yeah. And it's like what you were saying about the word try. I feel like you just revert back to that old, like you were just saying you use that occasionally and then you go, wait, I'm not supposed to use that.
Yeah.
But going back to that, like negativity is just so easy and it's so, it feels so normal. Yeah. Like creating that new pathway of like, no, I'm actually not going to repeat what I would have just said in the past. I'm going to actually say something a bit different here, or not take that on board, at least emotionally. Yeah.
And choosing your hard, like
Yeah.
you can stay where you are and stay stuck and feeling terrible about life, or you can choose the hard thing of making a choice to be different and stepping into that radical responsibility, like you said earlier, and doing something different and choosing what is your hard and what you want to do in life.
That actually reminds me of, actually you shared the quote, the magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding.
Yeah,
Your core
that's
message.
totally my favorite quote because I can relate to it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, choose your heart. That's really powerful. Is there any advice that you could give them to get out of that rut if they don't have anyone around them that thinks differently? I feel like that would be the most difficult place to be. And you wouldn't even know it, right? You didn't know you didn't have the answer.
Yeah, I think if you're feeling shit, if you don't like where you are,
yeah.
Sorry, do you mind
Oh,
me?
perfect. So good.
If you don't like where you are, do something different. There's so many different, like social media, there's people everywhere that you can follow that are inspiring, that are doing the things that you want to do. So So find someone that's doing that thing you want to do, that's one step ahead of you, and model them.
Amazing. Yeah.
Use it, like, start to take those little steps. And that's exactly what I've done.
Was it your coach you were modeling?
Yes, it was to start with.
Were you following her on socials, or is that how?
Yeah, it's a funny story, actually. I had actually had a terrible day at work. I had come home and had some drinks, and I'd been following her on Instagram for a little while. And she was actually at the integrated NLP training that we did together.
Yeah.
And posted a video of them dancing.
Mm.
And I was looking at this going, what? And so I commented after a few drinks saying, you know, no one's watching you, right? and she replied saying, what is it that triggers you about this? And that started me thinking. Like, I was like, oh, like, I just ignored it to start with. And then I think it was a couple of days later, I thought, is there something in this? And there was. I was jealous. I wanted to feel good, and I wanted to be able to dance around crazy at like 9 o'clock in the morning with strangers. And so then I can't remember exactly, but we started communicating a bit more, and we jumped on a call and connected that way. And yeah, it was just that funny conversation that actually triggered me to think differently.
I love that. So lesson is to be provocative, or be like, stir the pot a little bit as who you are.
Why not?
Yeah. And the dancing at 9 a.m. is the best.
That's so great. I love morning dance parties.
Yeah. You can't even describe it. I feel like you can't even describe it to your past self. I'm like, no, you just I wish you would have danced.
You'll love
it. Yeah. That's so awesome. I love that story. And then you ended up in that same room, and look how good you are. Yeah.
So good.
I can't even picture that version of you. How fascinating.
Isn't it funny? I was talking to someone else from NLP the other day, and she was talking about how much she's changed and things. And I was like, well, I don't actually know you before that. So this is the version of you that is you. And yeah, it's really interesting. It's really cool.
So if we let that go, then this is the only you, which is true.
Yeah.
No matter what? Yeah.
There is only now.
Yeah. There's only now. Agreed. It's amazing. I'm gonna ask though, looking back in the past, or actually no, let's not go back. Like, for now, like, is there anything now in your mindset that still comes back? Any of those criticisms that you're still working through? I think that's just important to know. We're still human.
Oh, definitely. Oh, it still comes up. So I don't know if you can notice, my eyes are a little bit puffy today because I had a really bad day at work yesterday nursing. And so I came home and I just cried my little heart out.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was just really, it was a really sad day. And there was lots going on, and I didn't feel like I was being listened to. And some of those old thoughts crept back in. Some of those thoughts of, and I specifically know one of them was, I can't do this. And I let that sit with me for a while. And in the past, I would have let that get to me, and I would have been upset for days, and I would have been like, oh, I can't do anything. And I would have stayed in bed. But instead, I now know how to manage that. And I know that I can do things. And so this morning I woke up and I was like, I just want to stay in bed. I'm tired because I had a headache and my eyes are puffy. But I went, no, I'm going to take action and responsibility. And so I got up and I went for a run with the kids.
Awesome.
I got out in the sunshine. And I think that's the thing now. I know the tools. I know that I can change my state, so I can change how I'm feeling in any moment just by the thoughts that I'm having.
Mm-hmm.
And so moving forward, I know that I can do that lifelong now. Like, these are skills and knowledge that we have for our whole life now, to be able to change how we feel in any particular moment. And if, we're not having those good thoughts at that time, they can be changed, and that will change our feelings, our actions, and our outcomes from there as well.
Well put. Yeah. Is it that, like, that you trust that it can be different, or you trust that it's not true? You trust that it's not true, essentially. The story that your brain tries to tell you. Is that what's changed?
I don't know that it's trust. I think it's a knowing now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for a while there, I did have to just believe and trust.
Yeah.
And tell myself that it wasn't true until I really, truly knew it.
Mm. Did you use any tools when you were in that that like transition state where you were like, okay, I guess I'll trust this?
I think having a coach myself was a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can have someone else that believes in you until you're able to have that belief yourself, that is huge. And that really supports you so much. Well, I know it has for me. And just little things like the people that you surround yourself with as well, the things that you're reading, the things that you see. Like, we don't watch the news because most of the time it's sad and it's bad stuff. Like, what are you watching? What are you allowing into your life that's going to support you to live that life that you want to live?
Yeah, I agree. And giving you the vision, I think, to be like, what is possible? What if? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I now truly believe that almost anything is possible.
Hmm.
I will probably never fly like a bird. However, there are so many other things that are possible in life. Like, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Is there any advice that you would give to your younger self or your past self or listeners now?
Um, to my past self, it would probably be just that you are loved and you are worthy. To people that are listening, probably the same thing, actually.
Mm.
No matter how you feel, no matter what you're going through, there are people that love you and that you are worthy. Everyone that is born is worthy, and everyone deserves love and kindness. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. I agree. That's so lovely. Um, I would just love to ask you one more question just about it. What was like the most rewarding achievement as you've been going through this? Like, what was the most significant?
Um, oh, great question. There's probably a lot of things. I do feel like every day now, I wake up and I'm so grateful because, like, the now is all we have. Like, I keep achieving things every single day and learning new things every single day. And like, the women that I help teach me so much as well now, that I think every single day and every moment I'm in is my greatest achievement.
I'm speechless. That's a great answer.
Good.
Absolutely, absolutely it is. Um, I'd love to wrap it up there then. I would love to let people know where they can find you and just hear more of that beautiful everything that you just shared. Wow. Yeah, where can people find you and connect with you?
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Kobi Pollock.
Yeah.
And in Bundaberg here, I run women's circles, nurses workshops, mums wellness groups as well. And then I have my online coaching, private and group coaching as well. Yeah.
Amazing. Do you have any programs coming up for coaching?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm rotating between nurses and mum group coaching groups. So they're just sort of alternating month on, month off. And then I've got monthly women's circles that I run, and the face-to-face nurses workshop. So I've got, I don't know when this is being aired. My next one is on the 2nd of September, and then they'll be every couple of months up here in Bundaberg as well. So yeah.
And these are online as well?
Yeah. So sort of 1 month I do a mum's workshop, and then the next month I do the nurses. So it's just continuous alternating. So there's always something available.
That's so awesome. I love that concept. Beautiful.
Yeah, it works really well.
Yeah, you can help everyone that like you really connect with. So
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. That was really, really great conversation. And I learned so much about you and growth. And thank you. It was amazing.
Thank you for having me. It's been awesome.
Thank you so much for listening. I do hope you enjoyed that. We are exploring our comfort zones and our edges with every episode, every guest, and every episode I do by myself. If you have enjoyed this, please follow us on Spotify, leave a 5-star review or a review on Apple Podcasts. It would mean the world to us. We get to grow and have more informative guests on, more provocative guests if that's what you want. I am so down to see where this grows. In the meantime, follow me on Instagram at amanda.petra__, and I would love to chat with you in the DMs. What hit home, what didn't, what came to mind. It would be really cool. So I will see you there, and thank you so much. See you in the next episode. Although our podcast presenters and all guests strive to deliver accurate information, they cannot address your unique circumstances comprehensively. Therefore, the content shared by any speaker on this platform is not personalized advice for individuals and should not substitute professional medical or health guidance. It is crucial to consult a qualified medical professional or for personalized advice. Additionally, always seek guidance from a healthcare provider before making decisions regarding your health or that of your family. Furthermore, it's essential to recognize that what works for one person may not work for another, emphasizing individual responsibility for health decisions as promoted on our show.